All right, so you ready for this? We are going deep on Kyrie Irving this time. A player, man. His name just brings up basketball brilliance and, well, a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
So if you're ready for some serious ankle breakers, those championship highs, and maybe a few unexpected turns along the way, then let's get right into it.
I think with Kyrie, what's so fascinating is it's not even just about, like, the highlight reel.
Right.
You know, it's really about understanding, like, the man behind all that talent.
Yeah.
And we're talking about somebody born in Melbourne, Australia, to American parents.
Wow.
His dad, a pro basketball player himself. I mean, that's not your typical, like, NBA origin story, right?
Not at all.
No.
Not your average start. And to think, he was actually courtside in Australia watching his dad play for the Boleyn Boomers.
Yeah.
That early immersion in the basketball world,
Oh, yeah.
it's got to have a lasting impact.
Absolutely. It lays the foundation.
Yeah.
You know? And that influence even continued after the family moved to the U.S. when Kyrie was 2.
Okay.
His godfather.
Yeah.
None other than former NBA player Rod Strickland. Talk about being surrounded by basketball, like royalty, from day one.
Wow. Yeah. It makes you wonder how all those early experiences, really shaped his approach to the game.
Yeah.
But even amidst all that, I mean, there's this tragic element to his story, too.
Yeah.
He loses his mother when he's only 4 years old.
Right.
It's hard to even fathom, like, the impact of a loss like that at such a young age.
Absolutely. And it's just a reminder, right, that behind the fame and the talent and all of that, you have a human being that's faced real life challenges, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes you think about that resilience he must have had to develop, the drive that pushed him to actually pursue those dreams. And we even see that drive early on. 4th grade, he makes his promise to play in the NBA.
Wow.
Doesn't just dream about it, he makes a promise.
Wow. Talk about setting your sights high.
Yeah.
And that determination really comes through, I mean, in his high school career. He's not content with just coasting along, He transfers schools to seek out tougher competition.
Yeah.
Led both schools to championships.
Wow.
He always seemed to have that, like, hunger for a challenge, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. He wasn't afraid to push himself, step outside that comfort zone. That's a quality that's, really served him well throughout his career. And then you have the next logical step, college basketball.
Yeah.
Duke University under the legendary, Coach K, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just 8 games into his freshman year. He's averaging over 17 points a game. True phenom in the making.
But then, it's just so often in sports, there's a setback.
Yep.
Toe injury that cuts his season short.
Yeah.
And suddenly that, like, bright future, it becomes uncertain.
Right. It's that classic tale of, like, potential, almost derailed by injury.
Yeah.
And for many players, this is the turning point. It's that moment of doubt. But not for Kyrie. He battles back, returns for the NCAA tournament. Right.
Shows that grit and determination. We talked about it.
He wasn't going to let that injury define him.
Exactly.
And then comes the 2011 NBA draft.
Yep.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. Desperate need of a franchise player. Select him first overall.
It's interesting to think about the weight of expectations on his shoulders, too.
Yeah.
You're drafted into a situation, a city is yearning for a savior.
Right.
Someone to lead them back to basketball glory.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Right. But he did not shy away from that challenge at all. Rookie of the Year, multiple All-Star appearances, that iconic 2014 All-Star Game MVP performance. He made it clear from the start, like, I'm here to stay.
Oh, yeah. He was here to play. And those early years in Cleveland, it solidified his status. He was a superstar.
Right.
But what really shifted the narrative was the return of LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly, it's not Kyrie carrying the team.
Right.
It's this big three with LeBron and Kevin Love. That had to be an adjustment, to go from being the guy to sharing the spotlight.
That's got to be a huge dynamic, right?
Oh, yeah. You have all this incredible talent, all these ambitions, and you're trying to mesh them together.
It's a lot of big personalities.
Yeah. How did Irving adapt to that new landscape? Was it a smooth transition, or were there some growing pains along the way?
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting, right?
Yeah.
You have to think about not only just the basketball fit, but the personalities involved.
Right.
You got LeBron with his leadership style, his experience, and then you have Kyrie, already a star in his own right, and they both want to lead.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, they reach the NBA Finals.
Huge.
But Kyrie suffers another devastating injury.
Oh, man.
Forced to watch from the sideline as the Cavs lose to the Golden State Warriors. Makes you wonder how that fueled his drive. You get that taste of almost reaching the pinnacle.
It's got to be that mix of frustration and motivation, right?
Absolutely.
Knowing how close they were.
Yeah.
But then 2016 arrives,
Here we go.
and they face the Warriors again in the finals. Down 3-1, facing elimination, and they pull off one of the most epic comebacks in NBA history.
Oh, tell me about it.
And Kyrie's right at the center of it.
Unbelievable.
Game 7, the score is tied, less than a minute left.
Oh, man.
He takes that now legendary shot over Stephen Curry,
Oh, my goodness.
a three-pointer that will be forever etched in NBA history.
For sure.
The pressure, the stakes, the audacity of that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredible to even think about what must have been going through his mind.
Oh, for sure. I can't imagine.
Talk about a storybook ending to a season.
Yeah.
He brings a championship to Cleveland, ending a decades-long drought for the city.
Huge.
But, as we all know, Kyrie's story, I mean, it doesn't end there.
Yeah.
This is just the first chapter.
It's just the beginning. And what makes it even more captivating is that even after achieving the ultimate goal, winning a championship alongside LeBron James, Kyrie still wanted more. He wanted to be the undisputed leader, the one calling the shots. And that desire is what's going to take him on a whole new journey.
So you have this champion, incredibly skilled player, and he wants to, forge his own path. That's what leads him to request a trade from Cleveland in 2017 and land with the Boston Celtics,
Right.
another team with a rich history, eager for a championship. Do you think the pressure in Boston was different than in Cleveland?
It's a different kind of pressure, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In Cleveland, it was that, weight of the city's expectations, the legacy of LeBron's first stint there.
Right.
But in Boston, you're stepping into a franchise with 17 championship banners just hanging there.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level of, historical significance.
For sure.
So how would Kyrie, someone who really thrives on creating his own narrative, how is he going to fit into that pre-existing story?
Yeah. He definitely had some, standout moments with the Celtics. That 47-point game against Dallas comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was capable of just taking over games with his offensive skill set.
Absolutely. He was electric on the court, showcasing that. Just incredible ability to score from anywhere.
Yeah.
But the Celtics years, they were also marked by setbacks.
Right.
More injuries that kept him sidelined. And there were, those rumblings about his leadership style, how he fit within the team dynamic. What do you make of that? Was it just bad luck, or was there something more at play, do you think?
It's tough to say for sure, right? Injuries, they are part of the game.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder if there were other factors contributing to those struggles in Boston.
Yeah.
Maybe a clash of personalities or different visions for how the team should operate.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And if we connect this back to what we were talking about earlier about Kyrie's desire for control,
Right.
it's not hard to see how that might have played a role.
Yeah.
He's a player who wants to be at the center of things, to have a hand in shaping that direction,
Right.
of the team.
And that leads us to Brooklyn, right? In 2019, he signs with the Nets, teams up with Kevin Durant to create another super team.
Right.
But this time, it's not about joining an established hierarchy. It's about building something new from the ground up.
Yeah, it's a fascinating move. On the one hand, you have Kyrie, this dynamic scorer who is often sought to lead his own team.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have Kevin Durant,
Right.
another all-time great,
Right.
also used to being the focal point. So how did those two personalities mesh?
Well, their debut season certainly started with a bang. He drops 50 points in his first game as a Net.
Wow.
A historic scoring explosion.
Oh.
But once again, injuries became a factor, limiting his impact. And then things took an even more complicated turn, I think.
Yeah.
The COVID-19 vaccine controversy.
Right.
Kyrie's decision not to get vaccinated meant he couldn't play in home games because of New York City's mandates at the time.
Yeah.
It was a decision that sparked intense debate, both in the basketball world and beyond. What impact do you think that had on his time in Brooklyn?
It definitely created a lot of tension and uncertainty. You have this incredibly talented player who was only available part-time.
Right.
And it undoubtedly affected the team's chemistry and performance.
Right.
It was a situation with no easy answers. And it seemed to highlight the complexities of navigating personal beliefs and professional obligations.
Yeah, it's a reminder that athletes, they aren't just performers.
Right.
They're individuals with their own convictions and complexities.
For sure.
And sometimes those personal choices can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond the court.
Absolutely.
He eventually returned to the Nets, but the team never quite reached its full potential. Frustration mounted, and in 2023, he requested another trade.
Wow.
This time, he lands in Dallas, alongside Luka Doncic.
Okay.
Another young superstar with incredible offensive talent. On paper, it seemed like an unstoppable duo. What were your thoughts on that pairing at the time?
It was intriguing, to say the least. You've got two ball-dominant guards, both known for their scoring prowess. The question was, could they coexist?
Right.
Could they find a way to share the ball and make each other better?
They certainly put up some impressive numbers together,
Yeah.
showcasing their offensive firepower.
Yeah.
And in 2024, they lead the Mavericks to the NBA Finals.
Wow.
A testament to their combined talent.
For sure.
But ultimately, they fall short against, his former team, the Celtics.
Oh, wow.
Another near miss for Kyrie. But that season was still seen as a renaissance for him, a return to his elite form. What stood out to you about his performance in Dallas?
I think it was a reminder of just how good he can be when he's healthy and engaged. You know, he was playing with this renewed sense of purpose, and his chemistry with Luka. I mean, it was undeniable at times.
Yeah.
But it also felt like there were still some unanswered questions about his ability to be the kind of leader who can guide a team to a championship.
It's a recurring theme in his career, isn't it?
Yeah.
That tension between his individual brilliance and the challenges of leading a team, of finding that balance between personal expression and collective success.
Right.
And it's not just limited to his on-court performance either. We've talked about the vaccine controversy, but there have been other instances where his off-court actions and statements have sparked debate and controversy.
Yeah, his promotion of certain conspiracy theories, particularly early in his career, drew a lot of attention.
Right.
It raised questions about his judgment and how he was using his platform.
Yeah.
And then more recently, the sharing of anti-Semitic content online led to a suspension from the Nets.
Right.
It was a serious misstep that had real-world consequences.
It's a reminder that with great talent and influence comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
And Kyrie's story just really highlights those complexities of navigating fame and using one's platform in a way that is both authentic and mindful of the impact it can have.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, and one that, many athletes struggle with. It's about finding that space where you can be true to yourself while also recognizing the responsibility that comes with being a role model and a public figure.
It's interesting, right, how Kyrie's career has been marked by these really high highs.
Yeah.
And then some, pretty low lows. I mean, you just can't deny his talent. He's one of the most gifted players of his generation, capable of things on the court that, most players can only dream of. But there's also this search for something more, right?
Yeah.
A desire to control his own narrative, both on and off the court.
And it's fascinating to me how that desire has kind of manifested in different ways throughout his journey. Early on, it was showcasing his skills, proving he could be a star. Then it shifted more toward leadership, wanting to be the one calling the shots. And as he's matured, it's become more about expressing his views, even if those views, challenge conventions or spark controversy.
And it hasn't always been a smooth ride. We talked about the controversies, the decisions that have, landed him in hot water.
Yeah.
But let's not forget his successes on the international stage, too.
Yeah, for sure.
He chose to represent the United States. Won gold at the 2014 FIBA World Cup and the 2016 Olympics.
Yeah.
That's got to be a huge point of pride, right?
Absolutely.
Representing your country on the world's biggest stage.
It really speaks to his competitiveness.
Yeah.
His drive to excel at the highest level. And it adds another layer to his story, right?
Right?
This isn't just about NBA championships. It's about global recognition.
Yes.
Cementing his legacy as one of the all-time greats.
And it's not even just about basketball, is it?
Right.
I mean, he's dabbled in acting, starred in those hilarious Uncle Drew commercials, and even a feature film.
Yeah.
He's got his own shoe line with Nike and has made investments in various businesses. It just seems like he's got a lot of interests outside of the game.
Yeah, and it suggests a certain entrepreneurial spirit, a desire to explore different avenues and build a brand that extends beyond the court,
Yeah.
And it also speaks to, I think, a level of self-awareness.
Right.
Recognizing that, a basketball career has a limited lifespan. He's
Right.
thinking about the future,
Yeah.
about creating a legacy that goes beyond just the stats and the highlights.
So we have this incredibly talented, multifaceted individual, someone who has achieved some really great things, but also, made his share of mistakes. Where does he go from here? What does the future hold for Kyrie Irving?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, he's still relatively young, and he's shown that he can still play at an elite level.
Oh, yeah.
But the question is, can he find a situation where he can thrive? where he can balance his individual brilliance with, the demands of team success? And can he continue to evolve as a person, to learn from his past experiences and use his platform in a way that is both, impactful and responsible?
It's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold.
For sure.
Kyrie Irving's journey, I think, is a reminder that talent and success don't always follow a predictable path.
Yeah.
It's a story of, triumphs and setbacks, of growth and evolution, and it's a story that's far from over. So to all our listeners out there, what are your thoughts on Kyrie's journey? How do you think he'll be remembered? That's been a deep dive into the world of Kyrie Irving, a player who never ceases to, I think, amaze and intrigue us. Until next time.